Welcome to Pratidhwani, where we try to humanize science. I'm your host, G.V. Pawan Kumar. It is my delight and pleasure to invite my guest on this particular episode, Dibakar Roy Chowdhury. Dibakar is an outstanding experimentalist and also, optics researcher who has been doing some very interesting work on metamaterials, plasmonics, semiconductor physics, and various different areas. Dibakar works as a professor at Mahindra University, erstwhile Mahindra Ecole Central,
Right.
and I'm very delighted that Dibakar is joining for this emergence series of Pratidhwani. Welcome, Dibakar.
Yeah, thanks, Pawan. I am also equally delighted that I got a chance to sit here to talk to you and discuss about my research and related things. It's been an honor for me.
My pleasure, Dibakar. So, Dibakar, please tell us a little bit about your childhood, briefly, how you got
Uh,
interested in science, and
yeah,
how it developed into some interest in optics and other areas.
right. So I come from a relatively smaller city from West Bengal. It is a Durgapur. It's a steel city actually. So my father was in SAIL, Steel Authority of India Limited, and then childhood was fun. Mostly spending time on sports, playing, and then Durgapur has a vibrant culture. So we used to take part in quiz, uh, and then other drama, this and that, and all those things are there. So I was mostly interested in sports. So all kind of sports we used to do in childhood, and then slowly our age evolved, and then there was a time when you have to take a decision after 10th to take study science or arts and commerce. So then in Durgapur or in West Bengal at that time, it's mostly people go for engineering. So from that perspective, I also took science, basically physics, chemistry, math, and all these things. But what happened after class 12 that I did not get cracked IIT or even not even West Bengal entrance exam. So you do not know, I mean, whether it was good or bad, but I kind of skipped that engineering thing totally, that it's not mine, my cup of tea. So then what happened that in 11, 12, we are studying science, that physics, chemistry, math, biology. And my interest was mostly, I could see that, now I see, that time probably I did not understand that I like physics, particularly the problems, and then maths, and then chemistry, then biology. And the same thing reflected in my result also. Physics, I got the highest mark, then maths, then chemistry, then biology. So choice was very clear for me that. So I took admission on physics honors in there is a government college, Durgapur Government College, in Durgapur city itself, and then studied physics, and then generally next was masters in physics. So like that went into studying physics.
Very nice, very nice.
So
Fascinating.
honestly, it's not like that something very well planned or something. It just evolved.
So paint us a picture about Durgapur, because it's a steel city.
Right,
It also means that you would have a lot of people from various different parts of India.
right,
How was it growing up there?
right. It is pretty cosmopolitan that time, and I tell you, my best friend was a Bihari guy. So Srivastava. So like that, we had friend from South India also. So it's not like now what we see. So that time South having some South Indian friend is like some European friend.
Yes, especially towards the northern and the western, and even eastern part of India.
Yeah, right. So that way we are kind of blessed that I mean my friend circle was not only Bengalis but South Indians, then other part of India, and I can speak good Hindi actually.
Yes, I know. I heard you also speak Hindi, very nice Hindi.
So I think that typical Bengali accent is
Not-
kind of missing, or at least very
Mm.
much reduced. And sometimes use some typical Hindi words also in my conversation.
No, because I should tell our listeners, I and Dibakar actually were on the car to Hisar. You remember Dibakar?
Right, from New Delhi.
New Delhi,
Delhi
and we
airport.
had wonderful conversation. In fact, I still remember such a beautiful conversation because 2.5 hours to Hisar, Haryana. We stopped at a dhaba. We had probably one of the best, Haryanvi food. Of course, typical North Indian food. And Dibakar was on song, in the sense the language what you are speaking was superior to anybody. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So that training kind of happened in
Mm.
my childhood actually. So that way we are lucky. Then of course I went different places for study and work, and then Hindi I can manage.
Nice.
Nicely.
So, which also means that you actually grew up already in an environment where you had an exposure to various different cultures. How was your schooling there? Was it very kind of intense, or you had a very good kind of normal childhood? Like,
So this way I am very lucky that intensity I never faced. So neither from my family that you have to do this, and school was totally fun. It was a government school, Bengali medium school.
Nice.
I never went to those convent schools and all those things. Till class 12 I was in Bengali medium. So teachers were very good. Good in the sense that, in our bringing the person we are at later stage, there are some seeds at that moment. So something like that. I had a teacher of English, Satish Chandra Datta. We call it SCD. So the way he just not teaching the subject, but the literature and the thought process behind the literature. So those things made impact, not only me, I mean many of our friends. He was very popular actually. So that way we had a very nice childhood. As I said, I was very much into sports. So nothing like that. You have lots of homework, nothing like that. You study, come back home, do something, and it was relaxing and mostly enjoying.
Very nice.
Right, it was mostly enjoying. So it was so much that during the summer break, we used to have, I don't remember, 1.5 months summer break. So the summer break was interesting for us because we can do sports 3 times in a day.
Yes, similar.
So morning 5 a.m., then afternoon 11, and then again afternoon. Early morning 5 a.m., morning 11, then again afternoon 4 or 5 p.m.
Yes.
So that was the most attracting part of summer break. Forget about result, these, that, all those things are not there. So that way I feel I'm very blessed. That, and from my family also, I never had any pressure. Never. That whether you need to do this, need to do that, nothing like that. So.
But how did you get really, serious about the research? Was it in the schooling you had that exposure?
No, not at all. Not at all. Even I tell you that during school I was very much into literature.
Nice.
So I mean, I can tell you, by the age of 10 or 11, I read lot of literature. It's Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay, you have known probably.
Yes, yeah.
I read full.
Wow, okay.
Then Sharat Chatterjee, quite a lot, Rabindranath Tagore, quite a lot. Not only that, Shakespeare, by that time, out of 36 novels, I think I read 32.
Fantastic, amazing.
So then, what is the other thing? Arthur Conan Doyle,
Sherlock Holmes,
Jonathan Swift.
Okay.
So by 10, 12 years, I read lot. So my father used to buy the books And we used to have a book fair in Durgapur during Rath, you know Rath?
Yes, I've
Rath.
heard about it. I don't.
So that time I used to buy these story books, and I was very much interested into general knowledge, GK. So encyclopedia, these, that. So nowhere science was there. So it went like 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 years of age. So it was very nice. I mean, study, play, eat, sleep.
Yes.
That's all. No pressure of target, nothing. But eventually that thing kind of embedded inside me, that now also I don't take any pressure.
Yes.
That I have to do this, I have to do that, nothing like that. So then moving forward, as I told you that after class 10th, science marks were very, it's good, this good marks. So, and in Durgapur, there is a culture that people run behind engineering and medical. But somehow biology never interested me.
Okay.
Biology never at all. So that point I was clear that no biology. So then the choice was whether to take art subject or science subject. Then I would say I kind of flow with the surrounding and took the science. But after I took science in class 11 and 12, so then what to do? That engineering marks, I mean, I did not crack engineering. So, but when I see after class 12 that physics was maximum, then mathematics, so my choice was clear. By that time, I understood one thing, that for physics subject, but you need knowledge of mathematics also. So that much I cleared. So okay, let's study BSc. Then I studied BSc, I studied MSc, and then I did MTech. So in between, what happened that after MSc, I got admission in PhD in IIT Bombay, but it was in nuclear physics. So, but I was not getting much, much interest in so what to do. So that time I wrote GATE again.
Okay, nice, interesting.
So, and I got a very good score, around 99 percentile. And then I got admission in IIT Madras in MTech in solid state technology. So then I got the admission. So there something happened that you probably know Professor Sripath Karmalkar.
I've heard about him. I don't know.
He is an excellent teacher and really good in this thing, semiconductor devices. So I took his course.
This was in Bombay?
IIT Madras.
Madras.
IIT Madras during my MTech. So, and that created a lot of interest on the semiconductor physics, right, in me. And although I did not do very well in his course, I think I got 7 out of 10 or something like that. Next semester, there was a course by Professor K.N. Bhatt. Unfortunately, he expired recently. He taught us compound semiconductor. That I got 10 out of 10. But then I got really interested on this semiconductor business and this, I won't say research, but bent of research, flavor of research, because there Karmalkar was more copybook style. Bhatt was kind of giving you some flavor of the research, connecting the class with the what's happening in ISRO, what's happening outside, that kind of a bridge. So then master's thesis I did on compound semiconductor based devices. Then eventually what happened that PhD also I did into it.
We'll come to the PhD part. Tell us a little bit about, because I want to go a little granular on this point. Because you have this very nice flavor of both engineering and physics in your research. I know that the foundations, I can already see that they were laid during your MTech. See, that route of taking MTech is not conventional. Because nowadays, especially only if you are a BTech and MTech, you will probably do a joint degree and then get it. But in your case, how did how did it evolve from your bachelor's to MTech? How was the transition? Can you tell us a little bit about it? How was your bachelor's and MTech transition?
So I actually did Bachelor of Science Physics honors from Durgapur.
Durgapur,
Then
yeah,
I did Masters from Jabalpur.
Yeah.
And then I did MTech from IIT Madras.
Madras,
So
right.
after MSc, people normally go for PhD.
Exactly.
That was I was also doing. But meanwhile, what happened that I wrote GATE, and that time that course was highly competitive.
Competitive, yes.
It used to finish by 98.5%. And I won't say that it was a very well thought decision, but somehow I felt let's explore this solid state side more. So honestly speaking, it was not a well thought decision.
Most of the time, that is how a lot of careers are, right?
Careers. Yeah. I tell you one interesting thing. Once I was visiting EPFL, Lausanne. So there, I forgot his name, the head of the physics department. He told me one nice line. I forgot his name, but I remember the line.
That always happens.
So he told, look, life is about taking all wrong steps, taking you to the right position.
Nice. Very nice. That's profound and very, very interesting.
And I actually tell my students also, but I tell them, but doesn't mean that you have to take a wrong decision knowingly. But it happens. When you look back, why I did that? Rather, I should have done that. But that time, that thing happened. And that paid actually later on, because if you see my research also, as you say, that it is just not only about the science part, but I think there is a flavor of
absolutely
technology,
including patents and other things. What you're interested in, we'll come to that part, because that is the main thing which we discuss in the emergence part of the series. Now that you've finished your MTech, what was in your mind? You actually
I wanted to do PhD. After, so it's a good question. When I started MTech, there was something back of mind that maybe I'll go for job, and that time that course was giving very high paid jobs.
Yes.
So
exactly.
I remember that time they used to get $4,000, $5,000 job. So I mean, it's fact that that time that money lured you.
Absolutely.
But after doing that, and by the way, I was the topper actually, so I did my MTech thesis from Germany. TU Darmstadt. So there I got that what is research.
Fantastic.
What is research I got. Then I made my mind that I am not going for job, I will do PhD. So it was so much so that I enrolled for campus, just like all students. But I did not appear for a single interview.
Is it?
Yeah. It was not getting that call, you know.
Exactly.
That, what I'll do doing job. No. But I was trying for PhDs. In India or abroad. So luckily, I got a position in TU Darmstadt. It's mine. So luckily, I got a position on this thing, PhD in TU Darmstadt. So it was in electrical engineering department, but my guide was physicist, hardcore physicist. And I don't know, but you know that abroad these boundaries
are very, very, very kind of, smudged.
So he was a hardcore theoretical physicist in electrical engineering department. That's to high frequency Hawk frequency technique, they used to call it, in TU Darmstadt. So, but anyway, for some reason he selected me, so I started working with him. And the PhD I did, it is hardcore physics.
Nice.
With some applications. And I worked on resonant tunneling diode, RTD. and that was out and out compound semiconductor based. So already that k invert thing was there in my
Yes.
mind.
Yeah.
So so that was a perfect choice for me at that time. That I was already fascinated with compound semiconductors, and on top of that, this was a device also. RTD is a device basically. So that way, I accepted that opportunity.
Wonderful, wonderful. So just give us a brief just about your PhD problem.
Right. So I worked on resonant tunneling diode, RTD. RTD is a ballistic device, quantum device, where you have this electron can move very fast, and it's it is based on quantum tunneling, right? So now what happened that you know that this terahertz already came into picture in 1990s. So that terahertz people are trying to approach from different way. One way is from by down conversion from the optical side, another is from this electronic side.
Yes.
So electronic side, people are trying different devices, Schottky diode, GaN diode, and all these things. But all these cases, the problem is that you not able to break the frequency barrier. However, RTD, since it's a quantum tunneling device and it operates very fast, so it showed potential in going to the higher frequency. Higher frequency means that few hundreds of gigahertz, 1 terahertz. That Schottky diode you can't, or impact diode you can't.
Yeah.
After higher harmonic generation, this and that, you lose the power exponentially. Then finally you go to 300 or 500 gigahertz. But RTD itself can operate at 300 gigahertz.
Nice, nice.
Right. Now, if you see the evolution of RTD device, that 1980s and 1990s, this US was very much active, particularly
yes.
Lincoln Lab in MIT. Lincoln Lab, I think, comes under US Defense.
US
Defense. Yeah. So that means they see some
some
prospects in defense.
Yeah, exactly.
But they are not able to neither increase the power nor able to push it to higher frequency. So then what happened that it started declining. So then my supervisor, he did some calculations and he proposed that actually this frequency barrier can be broken and you can push RTD operational frequency to even beyond terahertz. Nice. 1, 2, 3 terahertz, where MIT itself was struggling to hit 500 gigahertz. So, by the way, my PhD supervisor is a Russian guy, Michael Feginov. He is very good in physics. That is one thing I will also touch. I would like to touch.
Yeah, please.
Because that his contribution to my scientific career, that's enormous. Nevertheless, so now he did some calculation that you can break it. Till that time, all the community was believing that the conduction of electron is solely responsible for high frequency or fast operation of the device. For the first time, he showed that not only conduction, there is a displacement current. There are two currents. One is conduction current, another is displacement current.
You're right. Maxwell's equation, if you look at it, that's
the fourth equation. There is displacement current.
Yes.
The displacement current we have underestimated till now. But if we can exploit the displacement current, then you can push it to much higher. And my PhD problem was experimentally validate that.
Wonderful. So I'll just kind of
a risky problem.
This is a very, very interesting thing because displacement current also has an interesting connection to wireless. Right? Because there is no kind of physical electrons which it can transfer, but there is a field which gets coupled, and therefore this kind of also connects to wireless technology.
I did not work in wireless technology because my target was to show that you can break this experimentally, of course, that this conduction barrier due to conduction current, which was the general thought process,
yeah.
general belief. But actually, displacement current can be useful and can actually drag the system. The beyond this conventional limit. So we took a boundary of that conduction where the conduction is dominating, and we showed that we can go to even 10 times.
Nice.
So if you can design a device for any frequency, right? If you design it at 100 gigahertz, but our experiment showed that it can go to 1 terahertz. So that was my PhD problem. And later on, I think recently he published a paper where he entered 2 terahertz.
Oh, from the same group, from
my guide,
okay.
Because he is continuing
in the same area.
problem.
Wonderful. So 2 terahertz.
Yeah, 2 terahertz.
Nice.
I mean, terahertz power at 2 terahertz.
2 terahertz. So this is using displacement current as the mechanism to generate terahertz.
Right. I won't say generate, but to drive the device. To generate terahertz.
Got it. Because you use that current to further pump something and then generate terahertz.
Right.
Nice.
Right.
Fascinating. So, I'm very sure you would have really learnt a lot.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
What were the general lessons you drew out of your PhD, Dibakar?
Yeah. So, as you can see, that it was really a challenging problem, and I was, of course, frustration was part of life, part of PhD life. The thing is that several things I learned. One thing is you have to accept frustration. You have to accept the failures. Failure is part. Success is
just a small speck.
Right.
Exactly.
And the moment you accept that, life becomes very easier, and you enjoy the work, you enjoy the failure. Thomas Alva Edison's quote, that from failure you try to see that what benefit, what is the way ahead. So I am actually indebted to my PhD supervisor, Professor Michael Fagino, that he's a finest scientist. I mean, before that, I want to do research. That was, but how to do research?
Yes.
That I learned from him. He's a very strict guy, and very honest towards the research, and very particular. And that time, I used to think, he's too tough like that. But later on, I realized. So, of course, that is one lesson I got. Another lesson is, there are several lessons, that how to see a curve. You get a data, how to see that, right? What are the points you should be focusing? So, how to see a calculation. I used to do first 1 or 2 years, I was with pen and paper. He gave me on computer, that was for only internet. I was working on pen and paper only. But that training was amazing. And he used to give time also, I should say. He was always approachable. You can just walk in his office, and he was ready for discussion. But if he is not convinced, he is not convinced. You take your time, but you have to come up with the answer.
Nice.
And then that was a
interesting, because he was a Russian in Germany, right?
He's a Russian in Germany.
Yeah, that's the old Cold War kind of slip over from that particular time. Maybe that's a very interesting thing.
Yeah, that I do not know about those things, but he studied in RAS, Russian Academy of Sciences, Moscow.
Oh, okay.
He's graduated from there, and his mathematics was too good.
No wonder.
Too good. So even that mathematical expressions, how to see, how to make the approximations that, okay, these are the terms, we do not need much. So I learned a lot. And how to see experimental data. He was an out and out theoretician. So, but the data he can see. Is it making sense or not making sense? And what are the things, smallest things? So then, but you know that my PhD was with one paper.
Is it?
Only one paper. But it got journal cover in APL.
Nice.
Applied
APL.
Physics
Yeah,
Letter.
of course, that's one of the journals we actually regard very highly. So general audience, I should mention that Applied Physics Letters is one of the go-to journals for people who work both at the interface of experiments, engineering physics, and also quite a lot of fundamental physics. In fact, Nobel Prizes have been won in physics writing papers. LED paper was in APL. And so many things. Yeah.
I think it is a prestigious and classical journal.
Yeah.
So after a lot of this thing, we published one paper only, and my PhD is based on that one paper.
Very nice.
But probably that is one problem that I enjoyed a lot also, right? So yeah, I don't know if I'm missing any point.
No. This is fabulous, Dibakar. This also, because the lessons what you are mentioning about are universal in the sense it's applicable for many people who want to do something deep, right? Because whenever you are trying to ask questions where nobody knows the answer, there is always a frustration, right? Because it's a kind of an exploration in solitude. No matter how much support you get, you will have to have your own mind into that particular thing.
Right.
And this is a very, very nice example what you just illustrated.
Right. So he I mean, a bit literally, if we try to put, so probably I learned that time that research is wandering into the world of unknowns, and you just have to keep your mind free from everything. Beautiful. No expectation, no biasing that it should happen this way, and that's the best way probably of doing research.
This is a fabulous thing what you mentioned. See, majority of the people, especially younger people who enter research, sometimes don't, or rather they are not exposed to this part of it, because they are kind of trained to pass exams where there is already a known answer to a question, which is okay for some particular part of it, but your life is not like that. Your research is not like that.
And incidentally, our actual life is not like
exactly that. Precisely right. That's exactly what I want to tell. Because many a times people think research is artificial. Actually, passing exams in the tests and other things is artificial. The real life actually doesn't have a particular answer already there.
Right. You don't know what is coming tomorrow.
Exactly. So very nicely put. So let's go further into your research journey. After PhD, what did you do? Tell us.
So after PhD, actually, my PhD was in device physics, aiming to terahertz, right? Mostly from the electronic route. So then I got a position in Los Alamos.
Yes.
Los Alamos National Laboratory.
So I have to tell to the listeners, Los Alamos National Laboratory is one of the biggest kind of umbrella of research facilities where everything under the sun is done.
Is possible. They have everything. And money is not an issue there. Money is not an issue there. So then they had a project on Terahertz Metamaterials, but they wanted to integrate a device on Terahertz Metamaterials. So they saw that I have this device background, and then I have kind of exposure to Terahertz, but I was not a metamaterial person that time. And metamaterial was fully hyped, 2008-9.
That was one of the biggest. Even now it is. But please go ahead.
2008-9 it was, people are publishing like Science, Nature, PRL like that. And at that time, Los Alamos published 3 or 4 one after one nature, then couple of PRL that time. So I don't know with my one publication how they selected me, but there was an interview. I believe that interview was satisfactory. So then I got it, because if you see there are three conditions, satisfying two, so which is the usual thing. And I started working on Terahertz Metamaterials. So that is another unique experience. So after working 6-7 years in Europe, then I worked 4 years in USA. So there is a difference in approach, right?
True.
In compared to Europe and USA. So, but there everywhere you have a positive sides. So, in case of this Los Alamos experience was fabulous. So, I was totally independent, not like this PhD time. PhD time I was focused on a problem, but Los Alamos I had full independence. But fortunately, I think by that time I knew how to do research. And I had a very good time in Los Alamos. They gave full independence. I used to generate my problem, then I will do, and I write papers. So everything I was doing there.
Nice.
So I worked with Tony Taylor, Abul Ajad, then John O'Hara. So Tony Taylor was later became as associate director of LANL. So during PhD, if you see my paper, it is me and my guide. During postdoc, if you see, there are 6, 7, 8 authors.
That's
so it was more working in a team, from people coming from all around the world. So that's quite a different exposure. People are giving some this thing, inputs. And they are really smart people.
In fact, see, that is another great thing about national labs in US, because as you mentioned, of course, there is the funding is is unbelievably large, but also there is a very nice international aspect to those laboratories.
Right.
They have really created umbrella of kind of problems and umbrella of directions. As we discussed, anything is interesting, they will be doing. Right. Be it related to, let's say, kind of homeland security, or it can be even cutting edge technology, AI, even nowadays, all things are going on. So,
even fundamentally,
there have been Nobel Prizes also, which actually have come out of it. So, in that sense, how was your time when you spent there? What was the thing again you learned from that particular place?
That's a good question. So, see. In Germany, I probably learned how to do research, and in USA, I learned how to reach people, how to show your work to the people,
communicate
to the people. So if you see, my publication suddenly jumped. So in that 4 years, I probably published around 13 papers.
Nice.
So 5 years, 1 paper, to 4 years, 13 papers. And APL, Science,
very
good journals.
Very high quality.
USA is competitive.
Yes.
I mean, it's a fact. Europe, you can coolly do your work, you enjoy your work, you enhance your knowledge base.
Yes.
Perfect place. USA, if you need to survive, it's a competitive world.
Yes.
So that is the thing I learned, that you do good work, at the same time how you show the world the work that you do.
Precisely right. In fact, I had similar experience. Since you mentioned this, I did put 2 postdocs. One was in Europe and one was in the US. I had very similar experience.
Right.
Because in Europe, you will of course get more time to think. And also it's very community-based approach to science, because there you'll go to conferences, talk to a lot of people.
Right.
In US, work is central and it's actually very competitive. I totally agree with you. And also that there is a huge enthusiasm.
Right.
Right, energy levels are
Energy
so
levels.
large. That's a very nice thing about their academics, especially science academia. That is something which is very science and engineering and technology and all
Right,
things, yeah.
right. So I would say Europe is a bit inclined towards open-ended research,
Yes,
and
yeah.
USA is towards the you
Goal
need
ori-
to
goal
close it.
yeah,
You just
goal oriented, yeah.
otherwise you cannot survive.
Survive, yeah.
So
That's true. That's a very good experience for you, because I think you also have carried some principles from both the places.
Right,
That generally
right,
happens, right? That's
right.
you are a kind of a device of an experience, so to speak. So tell us about further transition, Dibakar. Now you moved from Los Alamos. What was your next step?
So after that Los Alamos thing, I was by that time I was clear that I want to become faculty.
Nice.
No industry, business, nothing. So, but I was not much interested to stay abroad. Otherwise, from Los Alamos, I could get green cards and those things.
Yes.
But I never tried. So I was trying to in India. So naturally, IITs, ISC, ISR are the first. But fortunately or unfortunately, no one entertained me.
Okay, that's
Of
interesting.
my applications. One or two faculty talk I got. But if you see my career graph, that during MTech I left India. And I was not much in touch with the Indian system. So anyway, I was not getting any positions, and then in Los Alamos, they can give you maximum 4 years. They first give you 2 years, then they give you 1 year, because they discourage people to
stay back.
Now, either you stay
for full,
totally you take the citizenship and these things and work for the lab.
Got it.
Because they have a lot of this thing, how do you call it? Behind the fence work.
Yes.
Classified
work. Yes.
So that for that they don't need temporary people. They need permanent people.
Obviously,
and I was not interested, so I had to find a job. So that time I got a position in Australia, Australian National University. That I was kind of I took that position. I was there for 2 years, and in India mostly my job applications are not working out. I mean, in government you have a very limited number of positions, right? Everyone cannot be accommodated. So that time I got this position in Mahindra Ecole Central that time. So what happened that Professor Sanjay Dhande was the director, and Professor K.R. Sharma was the one Professor Emeritus there. He is Dean R&D of IIT Kanpur earlier, and then he was director of CSIO.
Oh, Chandigarh.
And he liked my profile. So he told Professor Dhande that you have to take this guy. So, and this is how it happened.
So, why did you come back, Dibakar? Because easily you could have stayed back.
Right, Australia.
But what made you come back to India?
So, see, the thing is that I'm a little philosophy-driven person.
Yeah, sure.
So, just staying abroad, making some money, enjoying the facilities, that was not something. And by that time, you could have understood that if I don't like, I don't like. I cannot do that. Whatever you give me, I can't do that. But if I like, whatever be the challenges, 99% I will make it working. So that always working in others' project, I was not liking that. As a dependent, without the independent position. So I was searching for independent position. So that time I got this offer. So I thought of coming back. So now, I mean, people have dream, people have target, and that may or may not fulfill. That's another thing. But if you see in India, there is a big void in private sector,
Absolutely.
academics.
Absolutely right.
So at that time, or even now also, I still think that can we make a really world-class private university or private institute? So where research will be taken very seriously. So I think if I understand your question correctly, then why I'm in this faculty profession, right? That is the
precisely
question.
right. Precisely right. Yeah.
So there are two things. One may be a little small goal, another is a large goal. Small goal is I'm in this profession precisely because I want to make life. If I have a target, let's say 50 students' life. If I can make 50 students' life, if they flourish, I will consider that my life is useful.
Fantastic.
As simple as that. So my target is that you take a student, 5 years you train, and then he or she should be a good human being, good researcher, and do well in their life. That's my small scale target, you can say. Large scale target is what I see in India, that in research, private is still not picking up. So can we, we say we want to become Harvard, we want to become MIT, we want to become Stanford, all are private institute, and this and that. So that is one thing that precisely I came back. I grabbed that offer from private. That why not? Why private cannot become a research intensive place?
Absolutely correct.
Absolutely correct. And
see, for India, exactly, for India, there is a big necessity of that.
Right.
True.
See, somewhere I was reading, I think India need 2,000 plus institutes, universities.
Yes.
Now, government cannot make all these 2,000.
Exactly.
So these big players has to come. Big players are coming also. But is it just a university? Is it just an institute? Is it just a teaching place? Teaching is good. I personally like teaching a lot.
Yes.
I get really, students get connected with me. But that research perspective, that research focused, why it cannot happen in private setup? One thing people speak about, that money. Right. See, frankly speaking, research needs money.
Yes.
And mostly private players are coming, their business houses. So money is a sensitive thing. That's true.
Very true.
But it is not that they do not want to pump in money. That is also not true. There are channels. If you can convince, if you can show the output, if you show your accountability, I'm sure they will give. Why they will not give? So money, because of money, private cannot do research. I don't accept that. And I do not want to say, but I don't think I have a multi-crore lab. Hardly, just one day I was calculating, it was hardly 1.5 crore in total.
In total, yeah. That's a pretty good thing. It's still a very
and
good
that's
thing.
over 10 years.
Yes.
If you see my instruments, it is hardly 1.5 crore, including all these things, 20 lakh, 30 lakh, 40 lakh. But things are running.
Yes.
The students are graduating. They are getting good jobs also.
Precisely right. Yes.
Right. So money is the sole factor. I don't believe. It is more with the intention. It is more with the with the effort that you give. So that is my bigger goal. I don't know if it will happen or not.
No, this is something, what you're mentioning is extremely important, Dibakar. Because, India also is under kind of transition in academic viewpoint. Because, see, for a very long period of time, we have had kind of inclination of kind of focusing on research only in certain institutions.
Right.
Teaching, of course, there's a large base because personally, I myself come from a from a particular background where my basic education was in the state board.
Me too.
Only later then I
Hmm.
kind of went into PhD at internationally reputed institutions, and further you can see that there is actually a lot of interest and requirement. But for a country of our scale, and of course of a country of our human resource, where there is a majority of the population is still under 30, there's a huge kind of interest also in science. That is something which we don't count for.
Right.
We not only have big population, we also have reasonably good number of students who are deeply interested in science.
Right.
That somehow is connecting very well with the students. But only having limited number of institutions, only which are only government funded. Although see, IITs, ICERs, IASC, TAFRs, all these institutions have played their role. But for a country of our scale, they actually are very small in terms of the proportionality. The emergence of private universities with good intention, this is probably the most important thing what you have mentioned, because with good intentions, where of course, see, nobody will do it for free, but if they have the good intentions of really making a world-class institutions where you take with you people of all kind of class and backgrounds, it would be a great service. Right, because you're really sampling 1/5 of humanity, so to speak. And that effort of participating in building a private university is very important. And you have been successfully running a program, not only successful in doing very good research, but also training students. So what is your thought? How did you really go about doing it? Just because this is an important example for various different people who might be wanting to think. There might be listeners, potentially some postdoc sitting in US or Germany, who wants to make a kind of a way back there into homeland, but they are not certain about it. Could you tell us? This is a very important notion what you are talking about.
Right. Also, just I want to add one more point to that this thing. See, as you said that 20 IITs, 10 ISR, ISCTF, it will be hardly 50 or 100 institutes.
Yes.
It's such a big population. And every good thing has some bad, every bad thing has some good thing. Exactly. We may complain that our population is high population, but at the same time, because population is high, there is no dearth of talents.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if you don't have more infrastructure, then what happens to those talents? So from that perspective also, we need these more research intensive places, and we have some examples already, like USA. And USA was how much? Hardly 20 crore when MIT, Harvard, they came up, and we are 140 crore. So what I believe, I don't know, maybe I'm too optimistic, but if you make a Harvard in 20 years or 30 years, in India, you make a similar level institute in 1/3 or 1/4 time.
Nice.
This is the point I wanted to add to this thing.
Very nice.
So now coming to your questions, that the people who are willing to join, it is a fact. I mean that people still has preference towards the established institutes, and we face this. Many good people come, and then they go to some good institutes. That is one thing that we face regularly. But what I would like to tell that, look, Rome was not built in one day. Have patience, do it, and there are. I mean, you are. I mean, today you are talking to me. Right.
Yes.
So there are people who will respect the effort in time. So maybe it is little challenging at this moment, but it is not challenging because of the system. It is challenging because it's a transitioning period.
Yes.
The many private places are trying to push research. And I think it will be very much smoother,
Smoother.
in days to come.
Yeah, because see, there is surely a demand. Only thing is, if we can somehow set right the supply properly,
Right.
there will be a nice matching which will happen. The only concern I have, I think you can talk about this because you are in the right position to talk about it. One of the questions generally which arises, Dibakar, is the affordability. Okay, one of the reasons why these kind of government funded institutions have become so popular and also very widely applicable to students is that the relative kind of fees. I mean, even now there is still an issue of how much the institutions take, but on a comparative scale, the fees is lesser in, let's say, government-run institutions. One of the concerns generally one hears is that the private universities and institutions actually are on a more expensive side.
Right.
How applicable are they to, let's say, a class of people who might not be able to afford it?
Right.
Can you tell us about it? How to approach this problem?
Yeah. So the thing is that it's not a linear thing. So, for example, it is true that at the BTech level or undergraduate level, maybe the fees are a bit high, but it's catching.
Yes, exactly. It's not very low.
Very different.
Even the normal institutions run by government are really.
It is maybe 20% or 30% different. But for the masters or PhD level, the fees are not high.
Yes.
In private, the fees are not high. So I still don't think the fees are problem. There are a lot of merit-based scholarship. Even in Mahindra University also we give a lot of support for the needy people. I think there are a decent amount of scholarships and those things.
Very nice.
So it is not about the money. Mostly, if you see that your career is bright here, you will arrange the money. Worst case scenario.
You are absolutely right. Yes.
It is not about the. But the thing is that creating the brand, that people should believe that this is the place. If I go, my future will be bright. Fantastic. Creating that brand value. Right. They should not think, okay, I'm giving this money which is useless. More important than money is that the precious time of one's career. Nice. Right.
Nice.
So 22, 23, if you are giving 5 years, you are gone. 28, if you are not coming out with something substantial, what you will do?
Absolutely correct. Absolutely.
So from that perspective, that it is just not about money. It's more that they want to see that in 5 years where I will stand.
Fantastic.
Can I face the market?
Very nice. Very nice. This is a very important clarification. It is also a kind of education for me because see, general notion when people talk about it, this is something not counted properly.
Right.
And you're absolutely right, because once you actually have something which has a brand value, I'll just take an arbitrary example, IIMs. IIMs actually have very huge brand value.
Very huge.
And the fees is also probably not very small. Right? It would probably require quite a lot of money to get into there. But still people do. People still go. People still go there and then do very good stuff. And I agree with you. I can see the point what you're mentioning. It's a very, very nice point what you're mentioning. So Dibakar, we'll also just briefly discuss about your current research. Tell us a little bit about your work in your lab, what is going on, what is the questions you are asking, and what is the kind of also technology you are building. Please give us a gist.
Right. Yeah, so actually now I'm fully focused on Terahertz devices. It can be metamaterials, metasurface, or quantum material based devices. One thing that we try to do is that Terahertz metamaterials or metasurfaces, they are very good platform for sensing. So different kind of sensors we try to build, mostly refractive index sensor, and we actually demonstrated some. That is one thing we patented also a few years back, and where we have demonstrated a unique platform in multi-layer metasurfaces. So far what was happening that the metasurface sensing platform was mainly planar. So you have a metasurface, on top of that you put your material, very simple. But what about if you have this multi-layer resonator system? Then you see that you can do the broadside coupling. In case of broadside coupling, right away your mode volume enhances a lot of area for interaction. So that we actually patented and we published also, and actually, I mean, I'm happy to say that it was published in JPD, and they highlighted that work in their Twitter handle as a new metasurface sensing platform.
Nice.
So this is one thing that that we do. Other than that, you see that now there are a lot of hype with quantum.
Yes.
But I'm doing for last 3-4 years.
Yeah, I know.
Not with this only. So we are working on quantum materials. The reason is that terahertz is relatively longer wavelength, right? 300 micrometer, for example, and quantum is 1 nanometer. So normally people do not deal terahertz through nano route. This is one thing last 4-5 years I have tried. I have started. Actually, I published first paper in 2015, I think, through nano route. But recently, I'm doing that kind of work also. That when you have these 2D materials, and they have very unique properties. So how you can control the properties of metasurfaces or metamaterials in a dynamic manner.
Nice.
Right. So it can be through voltage, it can be through light, it can be through heat. How? Because once you make a static metamaterial, its properties are fixed, which is not very useful, right? So you need to control it. So how you can control? So there are different schemes. One scheme is you embed active material. It can be silicon, typical bulk material. But now we are trying to move towards using these 2D materials for that purpose. And if that happens, then we can. It will help you in further miniaturization. So, for example, for silicon, we need 600, 700 nanometer silicon, or at least 200, 300 nanometer. And this is 1 nanometer. Right away, you see 200 times smaller. Right.
It's already scaling down.
Scaling down. So this is one thing that we do. Another thing also, we are trying this terahertz generation detection. Terahertz generation detection. So I just learned sometime back that for this in DRDO, they purchase these terahertz sources from outside. So I told them, look, I have background, so let's work together.
Wonderful. Nice.
So we are doing it for some time, but this is one thing also. There are multiple ways of terahertz. I'm talking about single frequency, not broadband.
Not broadband.
Okay. So these are the few things that we are doing this. And another thing I want to, actually I have started, but it somehow did not pick up much. That is terahertz, this thing, communication. Wireless communication, chip to chip, for example. Because if you see the emergence of 6G, 6G is unavoidable. Whatever you say,
it will surely come.
It will come. 5 years, 10 years, it will come.
Yes.
But now if you see, what is the frequency of 6G? Beyond 100 gigahertz.
Gigahertz.
So this is in terahertz.
Yes.
So you need terahertz devices.
Absolutely.
And now most of the materials are not naturally responsive to terahertz. How you address this problem? Metamaterial is I think one way of doing it. When you go for 150 gigahertz communication, so most of our current infrastructure will not be helpful.
Yeah, right.
Right. So there will be a shift. It will be slow shift in 10, 15 years, but there will be shift. And currently, maybe your silicon Schottky is working or germanium Schottky, that will not work.
You have to kind of orient it to.
Somehow you need to maybe by phase, but you need a lot of development in the infrastructure. So that is one thing I can foresee that coming and unavoidable. And that part I want to contribute.
Wonderful. Do you think the technology will go towards visible frequencies, as it that's a very, very long term,
Right.
because as you see how things are actually moving, it's like Moore's law but for light. It's in electromagnetic spectrum, I'm saying,
Right.
because it also is motivated by the materials,
Right.
and there's a beautiful semblance. In fact, your own work, I was looking at some of the things what you have been doing. You also bring in that material perspective and mix it with the optics aspect.
Right.
And that actually is a great way of doing optics. In fact, a lot of us who work on light matter interaction actually have to understand not only light, but also the matter, how it works with that. And in that sense, you probably are looking at that problem, and you mentioned about that direction. And is there anything specific also you are working on those directions in terms of metamaterials and?
So this see, by naturally or whatever you say with time, I have this background in device material also, and then this from optics also. So kind of these two things, if you just put it in very simplistically, that is my USP.
Exactly. That is
that bringing the solid state or device aspect, and then with the photonics thing. So that is what we are mostly doing.
Nice.
Whether it can be carbon nanotube, whether it can be MOS2, which are low dimensional material, or we do different kind of other material also, bulk materials. So that I am doing. So we have recently pursued one work on Schottky metamaterials. So we are writing it. So I think you will like that work. We enjoyed quite a lot that work. So where we are trying to show that how double Schottky can manipulate, or let's say modulate, the terahertz.
Wonderful.
When it is embedded in metasurface configuration.
Fabulous.
And it's a very simplistically done. So one thing I want to emphasize that this is the knowledge I try to pass on to my students also.
Yes, this is important.
That, look, never complain about what is not available. Do whatever you have, and every problem has a solution.
Nice.
And this kind of, although I did PhD in Germany, but there were certain constraints. Because my guide was very young. He's very young, by the way.
Oh, is it? Okay. I didn't know that.
So I don't know, maybe early 50s or something.
Oh, okay.
So that time he was even
more.
So we used to think that we don't have this. We don't have a vector network analyzer which is operating at 40 gigahertz. But how can we still prove the concept with a VNA which is operating till 12 gigahertz? So
that needs creativity.
So let's not stop that this is not available. Let's see how we can bypass. If required, this is my addition, that see, in India you have everything. And people are very helpful. People are very helpful. I am lucky in that sense. So if I ask for some characterization, someone does that. And you will be surprised that with priority people did for me. It's not that it is someone else's work, I'll put it later on. So that way, they, with reasonable priority, I don't say, I can't expect that you stop your work to do my work. With a reasonable priority, they do it. So nothing stops. You want to do it, plan it,
Planning,
proper planning, and you can execute it.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
So, and what should move?
Very nicely put. So, do you think the light frequency approach will
okay. Sorry, going to another direction.
No. I also took the deviation, but I'm just curious because with your knowledge, I'm very curious to know the answer to this.
See, this we always have surprises.
Yes.
We always have surprises. So now people, as a terahertz guy, I am jumping. No, everything will happen in terahertz. So, but there can be alternative route.
Yeah. Because this Li-Fi's and other things are coming.
Right. So if it's like water flowing, right? You are blocked somewhere, you won't stop. You find the other way. So it can very well come down from the high frequency side.
Fabulous.
People are trying.
Wonderful. So, Dibakar, this has been.
In fact, sorry. In fact, when we discuss here and there, many people think that no, it cannot. I mean, terahertz is not the future. Terahertz has its certain limitations, so it is hyped. Many people say, so.
But everything actually has that, because you know that there is a very famous curve that hype cycle curve.
Right.
Initially, it starts with a boom, then it settles down as a plateau, and sometimes very good technologies can emerge out of it. And quantum is undergoing similar kind of boom now. Terahertz was there earlier. Nano was there, and most of it actually has something. For example, AI and machine learning is now under a rooftop boom. It's going to come down. Because at least what history teaches us is that there is going to be a plateau at some point in time.
Right.
But it's good in a way. At least the society will get to know what are the really interesting questions which are emerging out. Because it is actually trying to peek into the future. Nobody knows how it's going to evolve. Right. Everybody, even people who are really doing cutting edge work, are really doing cutting edge at that point where they're pushing the limit.
Right.
Nobody knows how it's going to evolve completely. And, that's how humanity works.
Right.
So, Dibakar, this has been a very fabulous discussion. And before we kind of conclude, I would also want to know your basic motivations in science, and what do you do for relaxation. Is there anything you actually do other than science which will help you relax?
See, science I am kind of forced to do.
That anyway we'll do.
That we have to do. So I am actually a very sport lover person.
Yes, I know.
I mean, seeing my body, you may not.
No. But I should mention Dibakar is more than 6 feet. He's a tall guy. But because I know that you like sports, because even the conversations we have had in the past was related to sports and other things. I am also deeply interested in cricket, especially Test match cricket. I'm a kind of
So I am into soccer, football mainly. Yes. But football is a body contact game, and I mean I prefer to be young, but I'm not that young anymore. So nowadays I move towards tennis quite a lot, which is a non-body contact game. So, but still there are chances of hazard actually. And but soccer is something that I really enjoy, and I used to play cricket. Even I played till the subdivision.
Oh wow, very nice, excellent.
So subdivision league I played, and now also we play sometime, but that is one thing I do, and to some extent I like cooking also.
Nice.
I tell you one thing. This is probably something I should share with you to help you. Cooking is a great stress buster.
Absolutely right. Absolutely. I should mention, even making dishes is a great stress buster. I do it. In fact, I have a ritual. Many people don't know. At least I clean my own small kind of stuff, whatever I consume sometimes. And I felt that is actually quite relaxing.
Quite relaxing.
Bartan Jarna is also a relaxing thing. Yes.
So, but yeah, I mean, but sports is something that I do quite a lot, and at least try to do, even if not. But 7 p.m. you are planned for going to a, let's say, play. 6:55 inevitably one student will arrive.
There will be something out there.
They will arrive, and then 1 hour is gone. 8 o'clock, who will go? Let's go home. Those things are there. So, but still, that is one thing I enjoy a lot. I enjoy a lot.
Absolutely.
And probably because of that, I probably have some approaches within me, which is probably inherited from sports. The seeing the problem, dealing the things.
That is a great kind of training in an artificial setting, sports, for real life, right? Because you will understand how to look at frustration, and equally being very respectful for the opponent. You can still be very competitive and yet be very good in a sense. That's sports is a great lesson. Personally, I also feel that it is always the great thing to learn from sports.
But television and those things I'm not into. I don't know, maybe 30 years back I watched TV last week.
No, the same here. In fact, that's actually generally the scientist inclination is to take a relaxation process, which, especially for optics people, where we spend so much time in a dark room and other things. We want somewhere outdoors and other things also. Similar thing happens.
Recently, someone was telling me actually that actually it's very helpful for the eyes.
Nice, exactly. No, even you can see, I and Dibakar both wear glasses. I'm not surprised. So many of the people who have worked in optics labs, I'm not telling, this is no way actually a generalized statement, but people who have worked with lasers and other things have to take all the precautions. That is another thing I would want to just mention.
Tremendous precautions are required because this is the most valuable.
Exactly. Absolutely.
1 second mistake.
People have lost eyesight sometimes and some other thing. So people who are getting into optics research, this is a caution we want to. So Dibakar, it's been wonderful, talking to you. And in emergence also, the idea is to have people whom I discuss with revisit Pratidwani again. And we'll discuss how things are evolving. You've given a great insight not only into your research life, but also how research is done in a private setting, a private university, which actually has given us a great insight into many things. So I thank you very much for your excellent thoughts and time.
Thanks, Pawan, for this invitation, and I really enjoyed talking to you, and you are being a very nice human being. I want to tell to the audience, because here and there I meet you maybe last 7-8 years.
Exactly. Right. It's only online we have been kind of interacting, but that's true.
So always the energy, the dynamicity that you have, and your this effort also, that bringing probably the human being behind the scientist, or beyond the scientist rather. It's a fabulous thing, and we are also, I'm sure, coming to your forum, we are feeling very happy that sometimes we also want to share, right?
Absolutely. So it's absolute pleasure. It's absolute pleasure. I'm so happy and also delighted. Dibakar was on a visit to Pune, and suddenly, we grabbed this opportunity. I'm so thankful for him to take time out of his busy schedule and share his thoughts. So thank you, Dibakar. Thank you.
Thanks.
This is Pratidwani, where we try to humanize science. This time with one and the only Dibakar Roy Chowdhury.